We're live.
Sergeant Leonardo, please start the cloud.
Cloud is rolling.
Just give us a second. We're checking on the stream. We are good to go.
Sergeant Perez, are we ready?
Yes, we are. You can go. You can start.
Thank you. Welcome to this meeting of the New York City Council's Democratic Conference. My name is Lori Cumbo, and I'm the Majority Leader of the New York City Council. We are here today to consider Jody Morales for appointment as a Democratic Commissioner of Elections for Bronx County. This position is to fill a vacancy that was created when the prior Democratic Commissioner for Bronx County resigned earlier this year. If appointed, Ms. Morales will fill a vacancy and serve the remainder of a four-year term expiring December 31st, 2024. Commissioners receive a $300 per diem for each day of attendance at BOE meetings or any of its committees, with a maximum of $30,000 per year. Ms. Morales was subject to a full background investigation. No adverse information, conflicts of interest, or compatibility of office concerns were identified. Under the default appointment process to fill a vacancy pursuant to New York election law, section 3-204, subsection 5, within 45 days after a vacancy occurs, the county organization must file a proper certificate of party recommendation with the city clerk's office. Then the full council can vote to appoint the person designated on the certificate pursuant to the New York election law, section 3-204, subsection 4. However, in this case, the vacancy occurred on September 13th, 2021, and the Bronx County Democratic Party still has not properly filed a certificate with the city clerk's office as required by New York election law. As a consequence, pursuant to New York election law, section 3-204, subsection 4, council members who are members of the Democratic Party may appoint any eligible person. Eligibility requirements are limited to being a registered Democrat and a resident of Bronx County. Do any council members have questions? Please raise your hand in the queue, and Ebony Meeks-Ladley will.
Councilmember Dinowitz?
If there are no questions, I'd like to make a motion for a roll call vote for Jody Morales to be appointed as Democratic Commissioner of Elections for Bronx County.
Thank you, Councilmember. We have a few more hands. Councilmember Gennaro? Councilmember, you're on mute.
I just heard in the dialogue leading up to this that Bronx County hadn't filed paperwork or whatever, and I'm sorry to have been a little zoned out when that happened. Why couldn't they do that, and why are we doing this if they couldn't put their paperwork together? I don't follow that.
I apologize, my internet might have gone out. I'm not sure where I left off where you couldn't hear me any longer.
You may mention the fact that Bronx County had failed to file the appropriate paperwork or instrument or whatever it is. And then another part of law took over, and
yeah, so I can
kind of,
Councilmember, I'll respond on the procedural question.
Yeah.
The procedural question is the counties are allowed to, within a certain time frame, submit on their own without the need for approval for the full conference. So if the timely certificate was submitted, it would have just been brought forward through the Bronx County delegation. But because they didn't select someone in that time, it is brought to the full conference. The current commissioner who just recently resigned to take a different position with the BOE is in a different role at the BOE, and that may have affected their timeline in terms of submission. So
Oh,
ultimately,
oh.
what happened was procedurally, they didn't go through the delegation, and now they bring it to the full body because they weren't timely in the submission. That's
Oh,
all.
fine. No problem. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Councilmember Miller.
Good morning, colleagues. Yeah, my question was pretty much consistent with what Councilmember Gennaro just asked. But I would preface it by asking if, in fact, if there were no formal correspondence, had there been informal conversations with county leadership about their preference or a candidate, this candidate or any other candidate, or just the process per se, and is there a precedent for the work that we're doing here this morning?
Let me further elaborate on my response to Councilmember Gennaro. We've done this in the past. If Bronx had submitted the name on time, it would have gone to rules and then to the floor. But because the submission was not submitted timely, it then went to, it comes to the full conference.
Yeah, I kind of get that. So timely would have been November.
I think it was a matter of
Mid-November?
days. Chuck can respond to the exact timeline. We received it within a matter of days. I'm not sure the exact. Chuck, what was the date that we received it in terms of timeliness?
Well, the previous commissioner resigned September 13th. The Bronx County should have sent the certificate of party recommendation to the clerk by October 28th. They never sent it to the clerk. So the 45 days has expired.
And,
So the
and
county-
when was it that the council took up this charge?
The council was made aware of November 9th that a certificate was voted on, but it was never sent to the city clerk. It has to be sent to the city clerk within 45 days. If it's not
So
sent
it
to
was voted on. So this is a matter of technicality here.
yes, Bronx County voted on Miss Jody Morales to be appointed.
They
as the
voted on
commissioner.
Jody Morales.
Yes,
Okay,
it wasn't filed timely.
that's much clearer.
It wasn't filed timely, so
Okay.
it doesn't go through the full council. It only goes through the Democrats of the council. So that's why we're doing that conference vote.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Dinowitz.
Oh, I think Chuck just addressed it, but we did meet. I'm less familiar with the timeline, the legalese of everything, but the elected Democratic district leaders of Bronx County, we all did meet and did vote for Jody Morales. So yes, Councilmember Miller, the conversations did happen.
Thank you, Councilmember Dinowitz. Are there any additional questions or comments?
All right. Seeing none, would someone at this time like to make a motion for a roll call vote on Mrs. Morales?
Councilmember Dinowitz.
Yeah, I think my motion's still on the floor, but if I do it again, I'll make the motion for a roll call vote for Ms. Jody Morales to be appointed as the Democratic Commissioner of Elections for Bronx County.
Thank you, Councilmember Dinowitz. Is there a second?
Councilmember.
Good
Felipe.
morning. Oh, sorry.
I second Councilmember Denowitz's motion.
Councilmember Salamanca.
Yes, I second the motion as well.
All right, we have been seconded. Council, will you please conduct a roll call vote on this nominee? This requires a majority vote of all members of the Democratic Conference.
There's a motion to appoint Jody Morales as a Democratic Commissioner of Elections for Bronx County. I will now call the roll. Councilmember Adams.
I vote aye.
Ampry Samuel. Ayala.
I vote aye.
Barron.
I vote aye.
Brannan,
Aye.
Brooks Powers,
Vote aye.
Caban,
I vote aye.
Cabrera, Chin,
I vote aye.
Cornegie,
I vote aye.
Dharma Diaz,
I vote aye.
Ruben Diaz Sr., Dinowitz,
I vote aye.
Drum,
Yes.
thank you, council member. Eugene,
I vote aye.
Feliz,
I vote aye.
Gennaro,
Yes.
Gibson,
Good morning, colleagues. I vote aye.
Jonai,
Aye.
Grodenchik.
Aye.
Councilmember Grodenchik,
Rarely accused of not being heard, but I vote aye.
Holden,
Vote aye.
Kalos,
Permission to explain my vote. There's always got to be one, right?
We were looking forward to it.
It's granted.
Yes.
Thank you. As I do with nearly every appointment we vote on in the council, I took my opportunity to interview Jody Morales, who has been nominated as Bronx Democratic Commissioner for the Board of Elections. She's a fellow graduate of the State University of New York at Buffalo and has had a distinguished career for more than a decade at the Bronx Defenders. In our interview, Morales said she would take on nepotism by forming a committee for ethical hiring processes. Morales said that when it comes to patronage, qualifications and competence matters. Morales shared reports of difficulty registering and at poll sites and made a commitment to register more residents in partnership with civic organizations. Morales agreed that no one should have to wait more than 10 minutes to vote, and she will add poll sites for early vote and election day to do so. Morales understands the importance of paper-based ballots and will support online voter registration, no-fault vote by mail, and same-day registration. Morales will support foreign language speakers who need translation services beyond those required by the Voting Rights Act. Morales understands that the City Council will be voting to pass non-citizen voting and not only will agree to implement our law, but was enthusiastic to do so. Despite Morales' preference for Anchor Bar over Duff's, I vote aye.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ku,
I vote aye.
Kozlowitz, Lander, Levin, Levine, Lewis,
I vote aye.
Mizell, Councilmember Mizell,
Yes.
how do you vote?
You're not hearing me?
Now we do.
Yes.
Thank you. Menchaca, Miller, Councilmember Miller,
Councilmember Miller votes aye.
Moya, Perkins, Powers,
I vote aye.
Reynoso,
I vote aye.
Riley,
I vote aye, and welcome to our new colleague, Councilmember Caban, to our first Democratic Conference.
Rivera,
I vote aye.
Rodriguez,
I vote aye.
Rose,
I vote aye.
Rosenthal,
I vote aye.
Salamanca,
I vote aye.
Traeger, Vallone,
I vote aye.
Van Bramer, Yeager,
Aye.
Cumbo,
I vote aye.
Speaker Johnson. The vote to appoint Ms. Morales is 34 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions.
Thank you, council. Majority of the council members who are members of the Democratic Party have voted to appoint Ms. Morales as a Democratic Commissioner of Elections for Bronx County. The motion passes. This meeting is hereby adjourned. I would also advise we are now going to head right into our Democratic Conference. This meeting is hereby